Dreamwood family time. Special guest, Octopi.
Alles klar. Hi Dreamwood family. Today's topic is... I brought a paper because last time I realized afterwards that I forgot some details. Today's topic is split personality. That is split personality. The idea is that rather than trying to do several things simultaneously, we discovered it often makes much more sense to take on all these roles that you play in your life one by one and be very aware of the fact that you are doing what you do while you're doing it, which is, in other words, focus. This might seem very obvious to many of you, but let me give you an example to illustrate how, even if it seems obvious, you might not be doing it. What happened to us is we used to play as musicians, and before that set up our own tech stuff, perhaps even, shoot some video or take some photos of other bands that were also playing at the venue. Perhaps you have even some fans walking up to you and wanting to talk to you. These things happen. You end up doing 1,000 different things. Let's say you're there shooting video or taking photos while at the same time thinking about, in 15 minutes I'll have to play my set, get all the songs right, and you can end up coming to this stage totally stressed out, which is not because you have been doing other things before that. It is only because in your mind you spend the time taking photos, preparing the tech stuff, and being on stage all at the same time, rather than saying, okay, right now I'm just a harmless amateur photographer taking photos of the bands that I like. And then 10 minutes later you say, now I stopped being a photographer. Now I'm the tech guy that has to do some simple tech setup for
like sorting the cables.
Often these tasks, if you look at them isolated, they are not very complicated. The only thing that makes it also difficult and stressful is thinking about everything at the same time, even if you're not actually doing it all at the same time. Relatively recently, we organized the tech setup for a whole evening of musicians playing, pretty much at the end we ourselves played. I think we were the last band to play at that evening, right?
The last scheduled band before the jam session, yeah.
But we had spent the whole day before that setting up the tech stuff, then mixing all the bands and being there to watch if everything works.
Take the video of the concert in whole. And with 2 cameras. And
it was not stressful at all, because that time we decided, okay, now we are the technicians. We're doing our best to make these bands sound great. When the set of the band before us was coming to an end, we got our instruments and we got on stage, and then we decided, okay, now we do the sound check. Nothing else, just the sound check. Tuning the instruments, making sure everything sounds okay. And after that you say, okay, sound check done. Now we're performing artists. But only then you become the performing artist. Before that, you're the technician. And after that, you are the artist that is accessible for the audience to talk to. If you separate that clearly, because humans are usually not good at doing many things at the same time, but they are good at doing one thing at a time with focus. If you put them all in a row rather than trying to do them simultaneously, it becomes very easy, very clean, very structured, and very stress-free. And that is almost magical if you experience it for the first time, to see how long you can last and still feel energetic, still feel relaxed, even though you've been working for the whole day without any actual pause in between.
I was even sick, and I mean really sick on that day, and I thought like, wow, that's gonna be a hell of a day, but it felt very easy going. It works for every kind of situation. Try doing one thing at a time if you're with your friends. If someone talks to you and tells you a story, the only thing you do right now is listening.
Yes.
You don't actually wait just for telling you the other person something else, or like you're just actually trying to listen to them. If Dino would tell me that he bought a new guitar and he is really excited, for him it's a new experience, and if you really listen to him, you can actually see how much deeper your connection with this person goes, even if this is just a very simple topic.
By listening.
By just listening.
Instead of already being,
in your thoughts, like, oh wait, I want to tell that I bought this guitar like $50 cheaper than he just did. Especially if you're in a fight with a person, listen.
That's actually another lesson. And the funny thing is, if you take the time to peacefully end the one thing rather than trying to hurry to the next thing, you will notice it doesn't even take more time. As a matter of fact, in focusing on one thing at a time, you will actually be much more efficient, because you will never end up doing nothing really, because you're caught up in thoughts. And my trick also is to manage to do all these things in a row and not forget anything. I totally get them out of my head by putting them on a piece of paper like this one. And
that's actually another lesson.
Yes, it is another lesson, but it goes hand in hand, because if you have an intelligent system, your mind is always free of these things, and that reduces the stress even further.
And if it's really difficult for you to do it with lists, just schedule your day.
If you really commit to something, even if it's a trivial task and you're not really all excited about it, if you really commit to it and possibly even find that relationship between what you're doing right now and how it contributes to the purpose that you love, what you really want to achieve in life, or something meaningful to you, if you can connect it to something meaningful, of course it will immediately feel better while doing it. And also, if you commit to it completely, you don't focus on the time going by, you focus on the task at hand, and the time will fly by, really. Commit to this. If you're cutting the onions, you are the onion cutter in that moment. And if you're meditating, you are the meditator. Everything you do, you make it your job for the moment.
Exactly.
You completely commit to it as if this was your sole purpose. And then you're done, and you move on to the next thing, and that is your sole purpose for the moment. Simple as that.
And now we're turning off this camera.
And we're going to be the cutting team.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Dreamwood Family Time. And we'll see you next week. And
good night for now.
Good night.